Welcome to Topic Chats. Thank you again for tuning in this week. If this is your first time, once again, welcome. My name is Joe Kenley, coach, speaker, and author. And the purpose for Topic Chats is to help you understand your unique decision-making process, as well as discuss the things that impact our choices. The purpose for that is to identify ways that we can make better decisions to get the desires that we want or the outcomes we want. So all the information that I share in Topic Chats is in my book, Anatomy of Your Decision Making, which is available on Amazon right now, also on Books A Million, or you can visit it at my website, www.kenleyspeaks.org. Pick up a copy. If you want to connect with me or partner in any way, reach me. jkenley@kenleyspeaks.org is my email address. You can also find me on my Facebook page, Joe Kenley Worldwide, or once again, my website, www.kenleyspeaks.org. If you're looking for an event speaker, workshop facilitator, or coach that'll help you with identifying your strengths, you can reach me at my website or email me, and I'll be happy to connect with you. I want to say a big thank you to who influenced me to write my book. And I want to give a shout out to Dr. Creflo Dollar for his book, 8 Steps to the Life You Want to Live, The Anatomy of a Successful Life. This was the inspiration behind The Anatomy of Your Decision Making. The steps that were mentioned were also mentioned in his book. I just put it towards the decision-making process because we all want to be able to make quality decisions, but we need to know why we make the decisions that we're making right now so that we can make better choices for the better outcomes. Also want to give a shout out to the researchers and psychological theories that I discussed in my book as well to help explain why humans do the things that we do. In there's information about different theorists and why they chose the theories that they did, and it makes sense. So pick up a copy of the book to get a better understanding of that. So 8 steps to powerful decision making. Just a quick recap of what we discussed over the past 4 episodes. We talked about how our influences or the source of an influence can affect the way we think. The thinking affects the way we feel and our emotions, and the feeling and emotions affects the decisions that we make, ultimately, which will lead to the actions after the decision is made. And if we keep doing the thing over and over again, it becomes a habit, and habits turn into character, and character will lead us to where we are now or a destination where we're headed. So a recap of last week, we talked about actions and habits. Now, action, the fact or process of doing something, typically to achieve an aim. And we talked about with an action that we are, it occurs after a decision. And when we act is based on the decision that was made, and we put ourselves in a position to perform, to do. And I shared an example, a practical example of an archer who's about to shoot a target. They look at the target, they know what they want. So they put themselves in a position, their body in a position. They put tension on the bow to release the arrow where it needs to be aimed. And that action of that release is the action, okay? And a habit is the tendency to practice, especially one that is hard to give up. So when we have a habit, we tend to do something over and over again in response to a similar situation. Sometimes when you're angry, you may lash out on people when you have a bad day, for example, or, if you're very tired coming home, you might choose to go in the refrigerator and get something to eat consistently, or go to bed and lay down and then repeat the process again without doing anything different. That becomes habits that are made when we keep repeating a behavior. So that's habits. So in this episode, we're going to talk about character and how character will lead to a destination, okay, or a disposition. So as we define what character is, it's the mental and moral qualities distinctive to an individual. So when we talk about mental, we're talking about in the mind. In the mind, we're talking about mental processes, how we solve problems, our memory. Okay, those are examples of mental processes. While moral qualities are judgmental, they're values, and they're usually passed down or taught to us. So a person's character considers how we think about something, what we make sense of it to be, as well as the values that we've been taught or the judgments that we've been taught that we that we've adopted, and we try to make a decision based on the marrying of those two, the mental processes and moral qualities that are distinctive to each individual. Okay, so how did I get this way? So when we talk about character, there's a lot of traits that can contribute to a character. You know, you could be humble, honest, patient, impatient, persistent, ambitious, whatever it may be. Okay, and you may ask yourself, well, or you may see one of the traits like, oh, that's me. All right. So how did you get that way? Were we born that way? Possibly. We talked about earlier, there's some traits that are passed down genetically where it's in our genes, but it's the environment that brings it out. Okay, but also we could have been taught that way and nurtured that way, and that's the way we've adopted to do life or do the situation, make the decisions based on that. And I shared in the book about the movie Twins, back with Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger, old movie. Probably don't remember it if you're an emerging adult, but anyway, traits. Okay, so there's a lot of contributing factors to a person's character. Okay, and it can go back. So I found this quote. It says, the truth of your character is expressed through the choices of your actions. Okay, so what does that mean to you? The way I'm going to explain it is that we can make a decision to do something, but unless we act on it, that doesn't illustrate or describe our character, because it may be contrary to what we decide. So if we decide we want to lose weight, but we consistently eat the same and we don't make the changes, well, our actions are in alignment with the decision that we make. But it is consistent into what we do and how we are, which contributes to the person or the traits that we are showing. Okay, so the truth of your character is expressed through the choice of your actions. Okay, so we want to make sure that we're in alignment from the decision to the actions that lead to our character. So the definition of destination and disposition, okay, there are two different definitions. Destinations, the purpose for which something is predetermined or destined. So once again, that source of influence had an impact on the way we think. That had an impact on the way we feel, also our emotions. With that, it led to the decisions that we make, then our actions, and our actions led to our our habits, and then the habits led to our character, ultimately to our destination. So the steps pretty much took you from point A to where you are going to wind up, or where you are currently. Then the disposition, the way in which something is placed or arranged, especially in relation to the other things. So each step, once again, where we are right now, where you are sitting, the way you're thinking, the way you may feel about yourself right now, is your current disposition. What has led you to this point where you are right now? And you can go back to the step one of influence to figure out where you are currently. Okay, so in destination, once again, is you've arrived. But I wanted to continue with that. It says, where you are in life at this very moment is a result of an influence that had an effect on the choices we've made. Now, we just discussed that. Now, there's a quote from Viktor Frankl. It says, he who has a why can bear any how. That's a pretty significant quote. It's letting you know that if there's an intention behind if there's a purpose, okay, an intention or a purpose for what you do, you're going to figure out how to get there. It's automatic. It's going to come. All right. And you're going to get to where you need to go. Ideally, we want to have a purpose for the things that we want to get, okay, for the outcomes that we desire. And having a purpose is the why we do. Okay. So no matter the obstacles that will appear, or as we move towards the purpose, we're going to have to make decisions that allow us to endure to the end. That's why it's important to have a significant why, because it'll drive us forward. Now, like a GPS, we may go off course. There may be something that rocks us in our path to our purpose. But guess what? Our brains are problem solvers. They're made to come up with a solution to still get what we want. It's constantly trying to figure out a solution. So it'll reroute us back. It may take a little bit of time off, but we're going to get there, as long as that purpose was significant enough for why we want to do what we want to do. Okay. But the consistent corresponding actions following your decision will lead to your habits, which will shape your character. And this will lead you to the destination you set out for. All right. So there's a quote that I can remember. It says, great things are done by, great things are done by a series of small things that are brought together. I think that's Vincent van Gogh, okay? So it's the sum of the small everyday choices that defines who we are. So if we're looking to do great things, we need to make sure that we're taking inventory of the things that we're doing, the choices that we're making, the actions that follow those choices, so that we can be where we want to be and focus where we want to focus to get the outcomes that we want. So in conclusion, we talked about the 8 steps in these topic chat series, which I was thankful to be able to share. I wanted to let you know that with the decisions that we've made in the past and decisions that we're making now, we have an opportunity to evaluate by just going backwards where we are currently, go back to the our character and the habits that were before the character, and then the actions before the habits, and then we can talk about the decision, and then the feelings and the thinking, and then the source of influence. And then we can make a judgment on, was it worth it? So we don't have to make the same decisions again and go through the habit of making poor decisions. Or we can look at the strong decisions we made and look up something similar to be able to make those better decisions and continue to make strong decisions by looking at the source. What was our attitude towards that? Well, how did we feel about that? And we just continue to go down. But once again, thank you again for joining me on these topic chat series. It's been a pleasure. I want to let you know that though topic chats may be ending right now, the information that's within topic chats that we shared is also in my book. Once again, Anatomy of Your Decision Making, available on Amazon, Books A Million, and on my website, www.kenleyspeaks.org. And I look forward to seeing you in the future with a new series that should be upcoming soon. And we'll talk more about it as we get closer. But once again, thank you for joining me over these past few weeks, and you guys have a great rest of your day. Have a good one.